When Conor fought for his first UFC world title, he fought the #1 pound-for-pound fighter who hadn't been beaten for a decade. And he knocked him out in 13 seconds. Cannot wait to step into the octagon against Islam Makhachev and beat him, because there will be no doubt that I have done it against the best. I don't care for what people think. I'm sure there are people that think he can beat me, and what I think is all that matters. So when I entered the octagon with him on August 15th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and that cage door gets shut, afterwards, the future is inevitable.
Ian Garry is walking into his title clash with Islam Makhachev brimming with self-belief. The Irishman has made no secret of wanting to mirror Conor McGregor's legendary night against Jose Aldo. For Garry, beating the sport's reigning pound-for-pound king would silence every skeptic once and for all. Because in his mind, true greatness only comes from toppling the very best.
Against Islam Makhachev and beat him, because there will be no doubt that I have done it against the best. To be the best, you have to beat the best. And my next opponent, right now, is regarded by everyone in the world as the #1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. Make no excuses. There will be no doubt. After the fight, I just wanted to be known that Ian Garry.
Reflecting on his career so far, Garry addressed the endless comparisons to McGregor. He gets why people draw the connection, but he's clear that copying McGregor was never his aim. His mission is building something that's uniquely his own.
My whole career, I've had a lot of expectations. I've had a lot of pressure from the outside world, of the fans and the sport itself, to be this star, to live up to the hype that Conor McGregor set, being from Dublin, Ireland. I've had a lot of comparisons to Conor due to the fact that we're both from Dublin, we're both from Ireland, we both talk the talk, we both walk the walk, but we will fight anyone on the planet. And that's nothing to do with me, but everything to do with it, people comparing me to him, right? I've been very vocal about how I started this sport being a fan of his and being inspired by Conor on his rise to greatness in the sport.
Confidence aside, Garry isn't blind to the risks ahead. He admitted his worst nightmare would be getting smothered underneath Makhachev for a full 5 rounds. And he knows that escaping extended top control will be one of the fight's defining challenges.
The worst that you see when you look ahead to Makhachev?
Being held down for 25 minutes and just having a boring fight. He's a phenomenal wrestler, a phenomenal grappler. And if you allow him the ability to stay on top and utilize his grappling and his wrestling, he can suffocate you and just lie on you like a weighted blanket, and you just find it so hard to move. And I'm like, that's not fun for anyone. It's not fun for me. It shouldn't be fun for him. And it's definitely not fun for anyone watching. So I feel like, and he did that. He did exactly that to win the world title fight. And I feel like that's the worst case scenario.
Kamaru Usman echoes that respect for the champion. He calls Makhachev one of today's most complete mixed martial artists, praising his all-around abilities and predicting he'll keep steamrolling top-tier opposition.
He's a special type of athlete, as we all know. He's one of those guys that are at the pinnacle of this sport here. I talk with Javier all the time, and Islam and those guys are always doing great, so they're in great hands. Javier is the one who builds champions. He's a master at what he does. So he's always with those guys, he's always with Islam, and so I know they're in great hands. They're getting exactly what they need as far as the fighting goes, the training goes, all that. So I see Islam just continuously doing what he's doing, and that's winning impressively. He's somebody who's mastered all aspects of MMA.
Colby Covington holds a similar view, picking Makhachev to get past Garry at UFC 330. He argues that Islam's wrestling pedigree, raw strength, and knack for dictating where a fight happens will overwhelm the challenger, with Covington forecasting a start-to-finish clinic from the champion.
Islam Makhachev versus Ian Garry, who do you favor in that? I favor Makhachev for sure. I think he's just going to take him down and dictate his pace and put the fight where he wants to fight. He's too strong for that little twig, that little cuck that sits in the corner and watches his wife get dogged out by the nutritionist. So, I got Islam. Islam ain't doing that shit.
Aljamain Sterling is also siding with the champ, calling a submission win for Makhachev, though he credits Garry with strong takedown defense and says he wants to dig deeper into his tape. Sterling considers beating Islam one of the hardest assignments anywhere in the sport.
I got Islam.
How?
It's a tough fight. I think it's a submission.
Submission.
But I gotta rewatch Ian Garry's fight because I don't know him very well. People saying like he has a good takedown defense.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll rewatch and come back to that.
So because I know everything in my division.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot of people in 170, so I cannot say. But like Islam right now he's the best, so it's a little bit hard to beat him.
Meanwhile, Makhachev's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, pushed back on the idea that Garry deserves equal billing, insisting Islam built his reputation the hard way against elite names. He pointed out that talking got Garry into title contention, but the cage is where truth gets revealed. According to Abdelaziz, 8 of Islam's last 10 fights ended in finishes, 3 of them against former champions, with the remainder coming against ranked top 5 and top 15 opponents. And he framed that as undeniable proof of dominance, adding that come fight night, the trash talk stops and reality takes over. Garry, for his part, refuses to shrink from the moment. Responding to talk of Islam's recent form, he says he's not hunting for a fast finish. Instead, he plans to methodically wear the champion down before finishing him in round 4, believing that kind of statement win would end any argument about who the better fighter really is.
In my ideal scenario, I want a 4th round finish. I don't want any early knockout, because then there's ifs, buts, maybes, there's excuses. I want 4 rounds of domination, and in that 4th round, I'm going to tell everybody, I'm going to do it now. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to finish him. I'm going to open the door, I'm going to walk him into my traps, and I'm going to take his head clean off his shoulders.
Daniel Cormier, though, thinks that mindset could backfire. DC says fixating on a specific round finish against someone like Makhachev is pointless, since the only thing that should matter is getting your hand raised by any means necessary. Cormier said he's puzzled when Garry talks about wanting a 4th round knockout just to avoid accusations of luck, calling that kind of thinking a setup for disappointment. Because a win is a win no matter how it happens, and predicting a round against the #1 pound-for-pound fighter is asking for trouble. Shifting to the technical side, Michael Bisping thinks Garry's path to victory runs through keeping things standing. He says the Irishman needs to lean on his reach, footwork, and disciplined striking to keep Islam frustrated, since extended grappling exchanges tilt heavily in the champion's favor.
The record of Islam Makhachev is 28 wins and 1 loss, with 18 stoppages. And of course, if he can get a hold of Ian Garry and take him down, it's probably going to be easy. Ian will struggle to get back to his feet, and I don't think he can match Islam in terms of jiu-jitsu or submission grappling, okay? But it's the style that Ian Garry has. It is the length and the reach that he has, and it is his ability to silence out the crowd and not give a damn if you people are booing. If everyone in the arena is throwing their popcorn and the drinks and going, boo, this is garbage, because all Ian Garry is doing is dancing around, popping the jab, throwing the right hand, using push kicks to keep Islam away, he won't care, because on paper or according to the judges, he's winning the fight, and his job is to win the fight and become the welterweight champion of the world.
Even with that, Justin Gaethje is warning people not to sleep on Garry. He points to Garry's self-assurance, well-rounded toolkit, the close battle with Shavkat Rakhmonov, and the win over Belal Muhammad as reasons this matchup could end up far tighter than the odds suggest.
Ian Garry's very cocky. He believes in himself, and you might find that annoying and a little bit frustrating, okay? But he's a fighter. You're supposed to believe in yourself. And I'm telling you right now, this fight for Islam Makhachev may be a lot harder than what people think. Given all of the accolades that Islam Makhachev has, it's easy to just dismiss Ian Garry. The man's Irish. They don't wrestle in Ireland, for crying out loud. Well, guess what? He's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's 17-1. He had a very, very close fight with Shavkat Rakhmonov, ended the fight threatening the rear naked choke. He beat the former champion, Belal Muhammad, that wrestled the life out of Leon Edwards, okay? So this is a real fight. Before you start to think that this is just going to be one-way traffic, I'm telling you, career. This is going to be a lot tougher than what you think.
Giving a comparable breakdown, MMA analyst Din Thomas favors Islam Makhachev, but acknowledges Garry could cause real trouble in the opening rounds. He says Garry's reach, mobility, and striking might create problems on the feet early, though he ultimately expects Islam's superior wrestling and grappling to take over as the fight progresses.
Islam Makhachev versus Ian Garry. What's your thoughts on that fight?
I don't even think it's remotely close. Very easy matchup for Islam.
Really?
Dude, he's gonna take Ian Garry down, and that's it. That's the end of it. Like it's not even remotely close.
Really interesting.
Like genuinely, I don't think it's even a little bit close. Look what he did to JDM.
Yeah, but
JDM has better takedown defense than Ian does.
But JDM does not run on his bike like Ian Garry does. Ian Garry will be very difficult to track down.
His legs are also twice as long, so it's a lot of leg to grab.
It'll be very difficult, I think, in the beginning to try to track. This is my concern, and obviously you all know that I'm an Islam homer. My concern is that the speed and the movement is going to kind of frustrate Islam a little bit. And if he goes and reaches, there could be something that he catches on the way in. That's all that concerns me.
Turning to the veterans, Demetrius Johnson believes this championship bout has everything needed to become an instant classic, even though he tabs Islam as the rightful favorite. He says Garry's frame, confidence, and well-rounded game make him too dangerous to write off entirely.
Islam Makhachev taking on Ian Garry for the welterweight, which is a sick fight, because I remember that back in the good old days, I would see yo fight 3 times in a year. Just boom, boom, boom. Like, you defending the belt multiple times in a year, so you got to see your favorite athlete and your favorite champion fight so often. But now you're lucky to see Islam fight once a year, or even it's just hard. But the fact that we get to see him, fight Ian Garry, that's going to be a sick fight.
Israel Adesanya shares that same enthusiasm. He praises Islam's dominant reign as champion, but also reminds people that Garry pushed Shavkat Rakhmonov to his limits, proving he belongs at this level and making the pairing an especially intriguing one.
Again, Islam is one of the greatest to ever do it in this game. He's dominant in his field, and now he's at welterweight. He wears it well, like against JDM. I thought JDM scrambling would give him problems, but nah, he didn't. It wasn't the case. But with Garry, the fight with Shavkat, he got close at the end as well, finishing Shavkat. But the way he handled Shavkat's grappling, I wouldn't say foreshadow what's gonna happen with that fight, but I haven't actually looked at that fight too much yet, but I'm excited for that fight just because it's like, again, another one of those ones where it's like destiny. A guy like Ian Machado, who's come up, had this dream, been calling it since day dot. He's been saying, I'm the future. I'm the future. And now the future is here. So will he get it done? Possibly. But I think I'll dive into that a little bit more.
Zooming out, Luke Thomas thinks both fighters stand to gain plenty from this bout. A victory would cement Islam's legacy further, while a win for Garry would be the crowning achievement of his career so far. Despite Makhachev's dominant resume, Thomas argues MMA is unpredictable enough that nobody should count anyone out.
Gary's chances. Huge night for Islam too, but it can't possibly mean the same to him as it does for a guy like Ian Garry, and there's a lot of tape on Islam. And like, I've just seen so many times where it's like, oh, this guy that no one thinks has a shot. I'm picking Islam to be clear, but that MMA is full of, there's just something different about being a champion, defending against legit #1 contenders, which Garry, whatever else you want to say about him, absolutely is that at welterweight, having much more difficulty with that than some of these other big stakes fights that we think are going to trip him up. I thought Jack Della Maddalena would have given him a tough fight, and it just wasn't that way at all. I guarantee you Garry gives him a much.
Continuing that thought, Josh Thompson zeroes in on strategy. He believes Garry has to steer clear of clinch work and grappling exchanges altogether, relying instead on constant movement, kicks, and angles. The longer the fight stays at striking range, he says, the better Gary's odds become.
I mean, if Ian can stay on his bike, stay outside, use his range, use his speed, use his accuracy, he can make it interesting. He can make it interesting. I think if he gets taken to the ground or stuck in the clinch, I think it's a long night for him.
A long night. I think it's taking to the ground. This shit's over faster than him and Charles Oliveira. What the f you talking about? If this fight hits the ground, I don't think he gets up until the fucking ref helps him up. That's what I think. Like all these other guys, I think they've got way more quality on the ground than he does. But on the feet, 100%, I agree. He's difficult. The movement, the speed, the way he kicks that oblique with that front thigh kick to the knee, all those things, yeah, that's a problem.
Nate Diaz also expects this fight to be closer than most anticipate, even while acknowledging Islam's greatness and future Hall of Fame resume. He says Gary's confidence comes across as completely authentic, adding that the challenger genuinely believes he'll walk out as the new champion.
Such a fun fight, and I think a lot of people, even though we see Islam as the favorite, as this unstoppable force this far into his UFC career, people are predicting that he will become the GOAT with just a few more wins at 170. I think he's got a real tough challenge in front of him in Ian Garry, and one thing that stuck out to me was Ian's confidence, right? We can always read body language and sort of see how somebody actually feels about the fight that they've drawn into based off an interview like that, especially a long one where you can sit with them for 30, 45 minutes and really get to feel it. He's confident he's going to beat Islam Makhachev. He's confident that once he does get the belt, not only is he going to be a better champion, he's going to be a more active.
Meanwhile, Michael Venom Page zeroes in on another crucial detail. He praises Gary's striking, spacing, and ability to bounce back from takedowns, but says Islam's grappling represents a completely different tier of difficulty than anything Garry has dealt with before.
To be fair, I have to say even his fight against Bilal, somewhat not shocked me, but I was very impressed. I was very impressed with that fight. I do feel like he's a very smart fighter. He's got great striking ability. Obviously, his length is going to play a part. And he's difficult, you can see from many people, it's difficult to kind of, one, take down, but to keep down. He gets up really well, he knows his positions, his jiu-jitsu's at a very decent level. Makhachev, in terms of if he gets you down, it's definitely a very different game to fighting somebody else.
Building on that, Page adds that Islam's biggest weapon will be his relentless top control, where submission chances tend to open up naturally over the course of 5 rounds. He believes Gary's best strategy is staying at range, managing distance, and racking up points before Islam can impose his wrestling game.
Again, it's a very obvious thing. That's where he's going to have the most amount of trouble. And I do feel like he will get to him at least once in a 5-round fight, enough to finish a submission. I think that's where the danger is. If he can stay on his feet, keep the striking, damage him enough to weaken him, so even if he does get taken down, he doesn't have necessarily the strength to finish him, but he's not really a damaging fighter. He's more pointsy, keeps his distance type of striker. So it's going to be a difficult one for him to do. But like I said, he's a very smart, very smart competitor, and he is talented.
Away from all the predictions, Islam Makhachev looks fully locked in as camp wins toward its final stretch. Every report coming out of camp suggests intense, detailed preparation as the champion sharpens every part of his game ahead of UFC 330.
Мне нормально, если балл я не отдам, взять не обязательно. У меня это есть понятие.
As fight week nears, the arrival of Khabib Nurmagomedov has reportedly taken camp to another level. Islam says the extra energy and experience Khabib brings has pushed the whole team to raise their intensity ahead of one of the biggest fights of his career.
For me, it's gonna be fun day. For them, it's gonna be very hard.
Ну, можно сказать, с чистой совестью. Больше 2 недель я отпахал. Такой специально подготовительный этап был. Больше работали над выносливостью, можно сказать, так грубо говоря. Делали также спарринги, все так же, ну, некоторые элементы добавили, там бег был у нас.
Javier Mendez says none of that surprises him. He explains that Khabib continues to play a major leadership role in camp, helping oversee training and making sure every session lives up to the championship-level standards their team has maintained for years.
Team for Islam's here, except two coaches, two very important coaches, Saif Safullah and Magomed, head coach at Abdulmanap Gym in Dagestan. But we have the main person that I believe is always here for Islam, and that's Habib. He is basically running the whole program, really. I do little bits and parts here and there. I become more of a mentor type than actually the head coach now, and I like my role. I do less work, but I also get to watch someone like Habib take over with the great honor and joy it gives me to see how great of a coach he is, and to see all the guys and how much they're learning from him. It's a big joy to see someone take over where you were before and how great they're doing.
Islam himself says he couldn't be more satisfied with how preparation has gone. He says camp has unfolded exactly as planned, crediting Habib's presence with motivating everyone and lifting the intensity as he prepares for his next title defense.
То, что у нас будет в бою, потому что уже смысла нету делать тяжелые тренировки. Это тебе уже не поможет. Надо вспоминать свои такие заготовки и больше их отрабатывать. То, что мы и делаем сегодня, в понедельник всю тренировку мы делали отработки. Осталось подогнать вес, и думаю, мы готовы.
That wraps up today's breakdown. With opinions all over the map and both camps supremely confident, all that's left now is fight night. Who do you think gets the job done at UFC 330, Islam Makhachev or Ian Garry? Drop your prediction in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more MMA content. Thanks for watching.